chosen one, stop everything you are doing right now. I do not care if you are lying down, if you are at work, or if you are walking down the street. You need to listen to me with your full, undivided attention, because what is happening right now in the unseen realm is not something you can afford to ignore while multitasking. This moment is not a coincidence. This message did not find you by accident. It found you because of a specific vibration you emitted that traveled beyond the physical world. This is serious. You did something recently, something so specific that it provoked a reaction in heaven that not even the oldest beings expected to witness. I am not talking about a massive, heroic act that you planned for months. I am talking about something small, quiet, and intimate. It was a moment so fleeting you probably forgot it, but they remember. Your act left the Creator speechless. Michael, the archangel who defeated Lucifer and commands the celestial armies, actually fell to his knees when he saw what you did. He didn't fall in defeat. He fell in absolute astonishment at the quality of your soul. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications, because what I am about to reveal will permanently change how you understand every silent battle you have ever fought. You need to stay until the very end, because I am going to show you exactly what it was that you did, why it caused this unprecedented reaction, and what this means for the blessings that are about to manifest in your life. If you have felt lately that something shifted inside you, like you crossed an invisible line and can never go back to who you used to be, write 777 in the comments right now. Doing this isn't just for a comment section. It is about confirming your frequency and signaling that you are ready for the celestial protocol that has been activated in your name. You have been operating in a state of pressure that would have broken most people. Most humans operate on a reactive frequency. They are only as good as their circumstances. If life is good, they are happy. If life is hard, they crumble. But you just broke that pattern. You triggered a classification that is extraordinarily rare, a demonstration of transcendent faith under extreme pressure. This has moved your case from the general population to a priority status. You are being handled differently now. The reason your life has felt like a war zone is that the darkness recognized your light before you did. But as of this moment, the permission structure for those attacks has been revoked. You are moving into a season of accelerated fulfillment because you proved you can hold your light when everything else is dark. Pay attention, because the details of your new assignment are being released right now. Let me take you back to a moment you have probably tucked away in a corner of your mind, because it was too painful to keep in the front. It was one of those nights where the weight of every single thing you carry felt like it was finally going to crush you. I am talking about the kind of night where the silence in your room feels heavy, almost like a courtroom where your own thoughts are the judge and jury, listing every mistake and every failure you've ever made. You know exactly which night I am referring to. It was that specific time when you sat on the edge of your bed or laid on the floor, and the voice in your head told you that none of this was worth it anymore. It told you that you were completely alone, that no one was coming to save you, and that all your hard work had been for nothing. Everything in your physical world at that moment suggested that the darkness was right. You had every reason to be bitter, every reason to scream at the ceiling and demand to know why your life felt like a never-ending uphill battle. But you did something in that moment that defied all human logic and caught the attention of every observer in the spiritual realm. You didn't curse. You didn't let resentment poison your heart. Instead, you did something so small and so quiet that it didn't even make a sound in the room, but it echoed through the dimensions. Maybe it was just 3 words you whispered to yourself. Maybe you didn't even say them out loud, but they came from the deepest, most broken part of your chest. You just thought, "Thank you," or "I still trust you." Or maybe it was just a simple, "Help me," but you said it without any demands. You said it with the purity of someone who knows they are being heard even when there is no immediate answer. That exact second, where you chose faith instead of fury and surrender instead of bitterness, is what changed everything. You see, most people break under that kind of pressure. They turn away from their purpose and let their light go out. But you did the opposite. While your eyes were full of tears, your spirit was emitting a frequency that humans aren't supposed to reach while they are still in a physical body. This is the silent act that triggered the celestial protocol. Your guardian angel, who has been watching your struggle in total silence to respect your free will, stopped what he was doing. He saw that your behavior didn't follow the normal human pattern. He immediately sent a report upward. This wasn't a standard update sent to a supervisor. It was flagged for immediate review at the archangelic level. It was classified as a demonstration of transcendent faith under extreme pressure. You thought you were just surviving a bad night, but you were actually passing a test that very few souls ever face. By choosing to keep your heart soft when life was trying to make it hard, you proved that your frequency doesn't depend on your bank account, your relationships, or your current success. You proved that there is something constant inside you that the world didn't give, and the world cannot take away. This is why the forces that have been attacking you are so frustrated. They expected you to fold, but you stayed upright. And because you didn't dim your light to survive, you are now being positioned for something that doesn't follow the usual rules of time. Your silent act has earned you a seat at a different table. I know how exhausting it is to keep a heart of gold in a world that feels like lead. You spent so much time being the lighthouse for everyone else while you were drowning in the dark. If you're sitting there right now feeling a lump in your throat because someone finally described the weight you've been carrying alone, don't walk away from this connection. Most people will scroll past this and stay in their cycle of pain, but you and I both know you are different. Subscribe to this channel right now. Not just to follow a page, but to tell the universe and yourself that you are finally ready to be seen and supported. Don't leave your soul hanging in the balance today. Let this be the moment you stop fighting alone. I want you to understand how the celestial hierarchy functions because it explains why your life feels so different right now. Usually, the highest levels of the spiritual realm are focused on massive cosmic scales battles that affect entire regions of the planet and shifts in the balance of light and dark. Archangels don't typically review individual cases. That's what guardian angels and their supervisors are for. But when your report arrived, it came with a classification so rare that the standard process was bypassed entirely. Archangel Michael, the commander of the celestial armies, actually stopped what he was doing to open your file. When a being of that magnitude looks at your life, they don't see it the way you do. You see a sequence of disconnected events, bad days, random failures, moments of pain that don't seem to make sense. You're looking at the individual threads, and often those threads look messy or frayed. But an archangel sees the entire tapestry. They see the complete pattern of every choice you have ever made, and every crossroads where you chose light over darkness. When Michael reviewed your file, he wasn't just looking at that one difficult night I mentioned earlier. He was looking at the consistency of your character over years of progressive pressure. What he discovered is that you have a pattern that is incredibly rare among humans. Most people have flashes of faith, but when the pressure increases, their light dims. With you, the opposite happened. The more life tried to crush you, the brighter your response became. Your light isn't borrowed from external sources. It is something ancient and eternal that you brought with you into this lifetime. Michael stood there for what would be hours in earthly time, examining the progression of your soul and looking at moments you have long forgotten. He saw the times you chose kindness when someone was rude to you. He saw the times you chose to forgive when you had every right to be resentful. He saw the times you told the truth when a lie would have been much more convenient. To you, these were just small, everyday decisions. To the celestial realm, these were brushstrokes in a masterpiece. They created a melody that is now being heard at the highest levels. This is what made him recognize you as a soul, operating at a level of consciousness that normally takes multiple lifetimes to develop. You are doing it now, in this body, under these specific earthly conditions. Because of this, your status has been elevated to what we call celestial VIP. You are no longer being handled by the general population protocols. This means your prayers are moving to the front of the line, and your needs are being attended to with priority. You aren't being watched because you need correction. You are being observed because your progress serves as a case study for what is possible for your species. You are proving that a human can maintain their frequency regardless of how hard the world tries to lower it. This archangelic audit has officially marked your soul, and it is the reason why the rules of your life are about to change. You have been flagged for special handling, and that is why you must pay close attention to the next part of this revelation. To truly understand why your life has taken this turn, you have to understand the science of the soul. It isn't just mystical talk. It is about the energetic vibration you emit based on the choices you make every single day. Most people on this planet live in what is called a reactive frequency. This means their internal world is just a mirror of what is happening outside of them. If they have money in the bank and people are being nice to them, they feel good and act kind. But the moment things go wrong, the moment the car breaks down, or a friend betrays them, their frequency drops. They become angry, bitter, and cynical. This is the standard human experience, and for most, it is completely normal. But there is another frequency, one that is incredibly rare, which ancient texts and celestial observers call the frequency of the chosen. This frequency is defined by something that seems almost impossible to the average person: the ability to keep your inner light burning regardless of what is happening around you. It is the capacity to choose love when you have every reason to hate, and to maintain faith when doubt is the only thing that makes sense. This is where your case became extraordinary. Think back to the pressure you've been under lately. For most, that level of stress is designed to make them break. It is meant to make them curse their path and turn away from the divine. But when you were tested, you did the exact opposite. You demonstrated that your frequency doesn't depend on your circumstances. By choosing gratitude while you were in pain and trusting the process while you were desperate, you proved that there is a constant, steady light inside you that doesn't flicker when the wind blows. This is what the observing angels are actually looking for. Anyone can be spiritual when life is easy. Anyone can have faith when they are surrounded by blessings. But to keep that connection and that purity when everything is crumbling around you requires a level of spiritual development that most people never reach. You didn't just learn this in a book. You brought this strength with you when you were born. It has been sitting dormant inside you, waiting for a moment of extreme pressure to reveal itself. That night you didn't give up. You activated this ancient frequency. You showed a consistency of light under progressive pressure that is rare even among the most dedicated seekers. While most people's faith fades as the problems get bigger, yours actually grew stronger. You are operating under a different set of rules now because your soul has proven it can handle the weight of a higher calling. You aren't just a survivor, you are a frequency carrier. This shift is why your old life feels like it doesn't fit anymore. Your interests are changing. Your tolerance for drama has disappeared, and you feel a pull towards something much bigger than yourself. You have moved beyond the reactive state of the masses and stepped into the active frequency of the chosen. In the spiritual realm, this is like moving from a flickering candle to a lighthouse. You are now a beacon that can guide others, not because of the words you say, but because of the steady, unwavering energy you carry in your very cells. Everything you have gone through was not a punishment, but a calibration. The pressure was necessary to see if you would fold or if you would shine. Now that you have shown heaven who you really are, you are being granted access to resources and protections that are reserved only for those who can hold this specific frequency. After Michael reviewed your file, something happened that is incredibly rare in the spiritual realm. Your case was taken directly to the Divine Council. This isn't a meeting that happens for just any individual soul. Usually, this council only gathers to discuss massive shifts in the planet's energy, major transitions in history, or the fate of entire groups of people. But your specific pattern of behavior under pressure was so unique that it became a matter of cosmic importance. It wasn't because you are inherently better than anyone else, but because your choices demonstrated a possibility that heaven needed to acknowledge officially. When the council looked at the tapestry of your life, they didn't just see a person trying to survive. They saw a soul that remembers. This is a very specific type of remembering. It isn't something you studied in a book or a religion you were taught. It is what they called cellular memory. While most people forget where they came from the moment they are born into this world, you kept a fragment of that original home deep inside your DNA. You know things you were never taught because that knowledge is part of your very essence. God Himself spoke about your journey, and His words were recorded in the eternal archives so that they could eventually reach your ears today. He said that you carry the original frequency intended for all humanity, the blueprint of how people were meant to exist before the world became so heavy and dark. You are a living example of the original design. The council observed that while many start their lives with good intentions, almost everyone dims their light when the pressure becomes overwhelming. They compromise, they become bitter, or they simply give up. But you didn't, because you maintained that pure frequency during your darkest moments. The Creator issued a direct command: mark this soul. This was the instruction that changed your entire spiritual legal status. To be marked means you are no longer just another face in the crowd. You have been flagged for priority attention. It is like being moved to a VIP list, not for the sake of ego, but because you have shown the capacity to handle a higher level of responsibility. The verdict was clear. You weren't being punished by the darkness you went through. You were being prepared for an assignment that matches your demonstrated strength. The pain was training for a role you are about to step into. You are being positioned to teach others, but not by preaching or giving lectures. You are going to teach through your being, through the very way you carry yourself and the peace you maintain when things get chaotic. People will soon be drawn to you without knowing why. They will feel a sense of safety and hope just by being in your presence, because their souls recognize the ancient frequency you carry. By surviving what you survived without losing your heart, you have proven that the original human design is still possible. Your file is now marked for special observation, and the Council has authorized a total recalibration of your future, based on the character you've shown. The struggle you thought was breaking you was actually the evidence heaven needed to entrust you with the power that is coming next. Now that your soul has been officially marked by the Divine Council, the mechanics of your life are shifting in a way you can actually feel. To mark a soul means to flag it for priority attention and elevated protection. It is similar to being moved from the general population to a VIP list, not because of ego, but because you have proven you can handle high-level responsibility. This is the moment where the spiritual diplomatic immunity I mentioned earlier becomes your new reality. In the spiritual realm, there are protocols that even the darkest forces have to follow, and once you are flagged at this level, opposing forces cannot touch you without facing consequences they aren't willing to handle. For a long time, you have felt like a target. You've dealt with constant setbacks, people draining your energy, and situations that seem designed specifically to break your spirit. Those were targeted attacks from entities that recognize light bearers and try to stop them before they fully awaken. But because your classification has changed to a chosen one operating under special protection, the permission structure for those attacks has been revoked. Those forces have been told to back off and have been reassigned elsewhere. But here is the most powerful part of this shift. The attacks no longer just fail, they reverse. Think of it like a spiritual mirror. The negative energy someone sends toward you now bounces back toward them. The traps people set to trip you up are the very things they're starting to fall into themselves. The obstacles that were placed in your path are becoming obstacles in theirs. You might have already noticed this happening in your daily life. People who used to cause you stress are suddenly disappearing or dealing with their own chaos. Situations that used to trigger your anxiety don't seem to have the same power over you anymore. This isn't random luck. It is the result of your new spiritual status. You have reached a level where the resistance that used to slow you down is being systematically neutralized. You are entering a season of unusual favor, where the path is being cleared before you even take a step. This shield isn't just about keeping the bad stuff out. It's about making sure your energy is preserved for the work you are actually here to do. You are no longer fighting for survival. You are operating from a place of protected authority. Walking forward, you need to realize that you are under a different set of rules now. You don't need to spend your energy fighting off every critic or worrying about every potential problem. Heaven is investing more in you because you showed you could be trusted with the little you had when things were hard. Your needs are being attended to before standard processing because a proven warrior requires priority resources. This protection is permanent as long as you maintain the frequency that got you here. The frequency of trust and grace under pressure. Type 777 if you can feel the shift in the air right now, confirming that the person who tried to break you has officially lost their power over your destiny. Because you demonstrated a level of character that most people only reach after decades of training. Heaven has activated a protocol called accelerated fulfillment for your life. Under normal circumstances, chosen ones receive their blessings and assignments according to standard, gradual timelines. There are usually years of slow preparation and small increments of progress before any major release occurs. But the quality of the faith you showed during your darkest night has eliminated the need for those extended waiting periods. You have essentially tested out of the introductory phases of your spiritual journey. What this means in your practical, everyday world is that things are about to happen much faster than you expected. You are entering a season where doors that weren't scheduled to open for another 5 or 10 years are being unlocked right now. Opportunities that were planned for your future seasons are being moved to the present. You might have already noticed small breakthroughs appearing earlier than anticipated or movement in areas of your life that have been stagnant for years. This isn't a coincidence. It is a deliberate recalibration of your timeline, authorized by the highest levels of the celestial realm. Heaven has decided that you have proven yourself trustworthy with the little things while you were under extreme pressure. Because you didn't fold when life tried to break you, you are now qualified to receive what others would need much more time to obtain. You are moving past the standard step-by-step progression. It is as if you have been moved to the front of the line because your demonstrated capacity matches the weight of the rewards you are about to receive. This acceleration also applies to the removal of obstacles. The normal resistance that slows down most people is being lifted from your path. Instead of having to fight for every inch of ground, you will find that the way is being cleared for you. Enemies and attackers are being permanently removed or reassigned so that your energy can stay focused on your new advancement. You are entering a period of unusual favor where you will accomplish more in the next few months than you did in the last several years. This is why you cannot afford to look back at your old life or your old ways of thinking. The rules of slow and steady no longer apply to you. You have entered a high-velocity season where your only job is to stay in that frequency of trust and gratitude that got you here. The more you maintain that inner light, the faster the external manifestations will arrive. You are being prepared in the darkness for a light that is coming at a speed that will surprise even you. Every soul that reaches the level of archangelic review receives a specific classification. This is a designation that summarizes your core spiritual identity and follows you for the rest of your journey on Earth and beyond. Your classification has been officially recorded in the celestial archives as a proven warrior of the light. This title isn't just a compliment, it is a description of how you are now recognized by every being in the spiritual realm. To be called proven means you have been tested through actual pressure and action, not just potential. Many people have the potential to be strong, but very few demonstrate it when their world is falling apart. You did. Your classification isn't based on what you might do in the future, but on what you already did during those nights when no one was watching. You are a warrior because you aren't just a passive observer of life. You are in active spiritual combat. You don't just believe in the light, you embody it and advance it against the darkness. The most important part of this identity is that you are a warrior of the light. Even spiritual warriors can fight from a place of anger or duty, which is limited and exhausting. But you fight from a frequency of love, grace, and genuine goodness. When darkness came for you, you didn't become dark to survive. You responded by becoming more intensely light. This is the highest frequency of spiritual warfare, and it is why your presence is so devastating to negative energy. This new identity comes with a specific assignment. You are here to teach others, but your teaching won't primarily come through what you say or the advice you give. You are being positioned to teach through your being. This means your impact comes from the frequency you emanate and the way you handle difficulty with grace. People will be drawn to you without understanding why, and they will feel safer just by being near you. Your life has become a case study of how a chosen one can maximize their potential even in the worst conditions. You have been prepared for this role through every pain you survived. The darkness wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to forge you into someone who could guide others through their own shadows. You will be entrusted with situations where grace is desperately needed because you have proven you can maintain it. You are no longer just a person trying to get by. You are a light carrier whose very existence reminds others that choosing faith is possible. Walk forward knowing that your status as a proven warrior changes how heaven handles your life and how the world responds to your presence. This final section is the most important part of our communication because it is the bridge between this revelation and the new reality you are stepping into. It is not a coincidence that you found this video at this exact moment in your life. You were meant to hear these words right when you needed confirmation that your silent choices actually mattered and that heaven was truly watching your every move, everything you have endured, every tear you shed in private, and every time you chose to keep going when you felt like giving up has been building toward this specific activation. Your attitude didn't just impress the angels, it captured the attention of the Creator. And because of that, your entire future has been recalibrated. As we close this chapter of the eternal records, there is a final note added to your file that you need to hear. It states that you made heaven proud, not through flattery or empty words, but through documented evaluation of your character under pressure. You didn't know you were being watched when you chose grace over bitterness, and that is exactly why your response was so powerful. You were simply being who you truly are at your core. Now you can walk forward with the absolute certainty that everything coming toward you has been filtered through a recognition of your proven strength. If this revelation resonated in the deepest part of your soul, if you feel that internal shift confirming you are a chosen one whose frequency has been recognized, I want you to write 777 in the comments right now. This isn't just a number. It is a way to amplify the frequency of celestial recognition and signal that you are ready for what comes next. Share this message with someone else who feels like their silent battles are going unnoticed. They need to know that their private victories are being recorded and will be rewarded just as yours have been. Your assignment as a proven warrior of the light has already begun, and there are specific angelic resources being deployed in your favor even as you listen to these words. There are thousands of people who will never hear this message because they weren't ready for the frequency. But you are here. You stayed. If you turn away now, after heaven has officially marked your file and Michael has knelt in recognition of your strength, you are essentially telling the divine that you'd rather go back to the struggle you just outgrew. You've prayed for a sign, and this is it. By subscribing and hitting that notification bell, you are officially signing your name to this new celestial classification. Don't let the darkness win by letting this moment slip through your fingers. You owe it to the version of you that survived those nights to stay connected to this light. Don't ignore the very help you asked for.